All right, so let's start with our large soft, and we're going to also use the small soft ball as well. So we're going to use them both, and we'll do them we'll do everything with the large soft, and then we'll use the large soft and the small soft, and we'll get some position point pressing done. So let's start with a balance on our feet. If you're joining us for the replay, thank you for coming. It's great to have you, and then we're going to go and get to the floor. So starting on those feet, look at the feet, just make sure they're level and parallel. See if they're colored or maybe they're miscolored. And then bring your head and chest up. Take a big deep breath and just let yourself go inside and just notice the weight balance on your feet. Notice if all the weight feels towards your toes, towards your heels, rolled in or rolled out. Notice if you feel just imbalance between the back of the knees. Do the quads feel gripped, tight, or out of position? Good, and then lift up all 10 toes. And then check and see where your balance is with less base of support, and quickly drop all 10 toes. Notice if your body whooshes forward, or if you have more center of balance. That's your body sense. That's your autopilot, making sure that you're protected and stabilized. All right, so let's open the eyes. Take your large softball, because the large softball is preparatory. Go ahead and press into that large softball, shifting to the right and to the left. Pressing down, releasing. Let those knees be soft. You can even just kind of sway back and forth. You can shift forward and back on those toes, whichever works better, or a couple of both. Go ahead and pause. Take your arms up. Take your arms down. Remember, moving your arms around with this ball is just getting our body used to remembering where all those joints are, so we can get a better fluid return. Step back. Let's go to position point, pressing underneath the big toe of the first foot, and then the second toe, and then the third toe. And notice if you see those knuckles pop up. Breathing, press. So I did a foot treatment earlier today, and I had gone on a long bike ride. And bike rides a lot of times keep your feet in one spot a lot. So my feet were really tired, oddly enough. Not like a run, but on a bike ride, they were a little stiff. And after the treatment, they really did feel a little bit better, and I had more mobility in the rest of my system. Good, and then so at position point 5, just press down, hold, and then release. Let's do the same thing on the second foot. Go ahead and place that ball right through the center of the foot. Remember, we do position point 2 across the toes, 3A, 3B, 4, and then 5. And then we're going to do all of that on this second side. Good, go ahead and pause. Take your arms up, take your arms down, roll your shoulders forward and back. Turn to the left and turn to the right. Good, and then let's step back with that leg. Move the ball to the big toe knuckle, press down, and then the second, the third. Ooh, look at those knuckles just pop up. It looks good. Less inflammation in the foot, makes the body happy, and press into 3A, which is the base of the arch. 3B, which is just behind the big toe and that soft tissue where that bunion area is. And then out to position point 4. Move the ball to position point 5, press down and notice, that's a bundle of nerves in there. A lot of crossing of ligaments through there as well. Go ahead and take that foot off, and let's start with we're going to go into the small softball. Now, if you don't have a small softball, that's just fine. You can use just the large softball and just do the same thing again, because again, it's preparatory. Also, if this feels like a rock or a pebble, don't worry about it. Get rid of it and just go with the large soft, and that's fine. You're always looking for tolerable pressure. So press down and pause. Just stand over, shift the hips around, bend the knees, straighten. And then let's take the ball to the knuckle behind the big toe, press down, and then the second toe, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Good, so move the ball to the arch right at 3A, and then move the ball to the arch behind that big toe, and then move the ball to the outside edge right where the pinky toe meets the heel. Good, and then let's go to position point 5. Again, that might be quite sensitive for a lot of people. Good, and then release. Good, let's take the ball to the second side. right in the center of that foot, and just shift back and forth. Feel that ball underneath the foot. This foot may feel different from the last. It's okay. Pause. Get that weight right on top of that ball. Notice again, this may be more tender than the other side. It's okay as long as it's tolerable pressure. Breathing. Let's take that ball to the knuckle of the big toe. Press down to the knuckle of the second toe, down to the third toe, to the fourth toe, and then to the fifth toe. Good. Take the ball to the arch of the foot. And then at the top of the arch, right where the arch meets the big toe knuckle. And then again to position point 4 on the lateral arch of the foot. It's very important. If that lateral arch gets overworked or tight, it can pinch or pull or even worsen a flattened foot kind of a situation. Go ahead and take the ball to the heel of the foot at position point 5. And then release that ball. Good, just getting in and getting out. Let's go back to, really position point pressing is really all we're gonna do on our feet with that ball. Let's go right in position point 5 on the first foot, and then let's begin to just side by side glide. Bring the heel to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. And then now begin to bring that ball back towards the heel of the foot. You can even see that ball getting almost squirting out. And now we're going to bring that ball back to the arch where the arch meets the heel. And then pause right there. And then let's give it a nice tight shear. Remember that tight shear, if you're hearing a lot of squeaking and wiggling and a lot of movement, you're moving the ball a little bit too much. Go ahead and pause. Put a little bit of your weight there. Take a big deep breath. And then let's rinse that foot. Rinse and rinse and rinse and rinse. 2 more. Rinse and rinse. Remember, you're going knuckle to heel. And friction on that foot. And then remember, friction is a multiple direction. All you want loose in the hips as best you can. Let's start in position point 5 on the second foot. Press down and bend the knee a little bit, and let's bring that ball side to side, and then slowly take the ball back to your heel. All the way back, all the way forward to where the arch meets the heel. Big deep breath, pause right where the arch meets the heel and give it that nice tight shear. Good, go ahead and pause. Oh, you can kind of feel all that tingling going up the leg now too. And release, and let's rinse. Big toe knuckle presses to the heel. Second, presses to the heel. Third, press to the heel. Keep that pressure. The key of rinsing is that consistent, one-directional press back. One more time, and then let's get some friction in there. Good, and let's do friction again the second time on the first leg, just to kind of notice. It's always good to kind of do an assess and a reassess, notice and re-notice, and then again, second time on the second leg. All right, go ahead and pause, put that ball down, bring those feet back to your parallel position, bring your head and chest up, let your shoulders drop. And now notice the body. Does the body feel more connected? Less like different pieces of body connected, but one whole open torso. Lift up all 10 toes. Notice if the body weight has less shift, pull, even with this shortened base of support, and then drop all 10 toes. And feel that better connection. Inhale, open the eyes. Good. So we'll come back again here at the end of the class, and so that we can reassess even standing back up again, so we can see maybe the progression. So go ahead and grab your roller and let's get going. All right, and let's start in with a pretty quick rest assess. I want to make sure that we're right in what we're doing. So after you've finished a foot treatment, you're back on the ground, and even though that you just did that rebalancing with the foot treatment, give yourself the opportunity to just lay down and just see what the whole information system is giving you. So we're going to get on the ground. We'll do a pretty quick rest assess. So laying on the ground, feet out in front. Let those shoulders come all the way back, head is back. Feel just the body settling into the floor for a couple of breaths. Notice the feet, the hips, the shoulders, the arms. If you want to pick them up and just drop them back down again, don't hurt yourself. And then just ease into your body in a more connected way, with less connection into your common senses of touch and sight, but your more body senses of what you feel and how your nervous system is reacting to what you're doing. Breathe. Feel that head back and notice if the head weight feels even or tipped off to one side. You can draw the chin to the right shoulder and to the left and notice if you have any clicking, popping, cracking, or pain. Remember, pain is an assessment on its own. Notice if the arms are evenly weighted. Is the shoulders and the upper back evenly weighted down to the base or the bra line or down to the lower part of the sternum? It should be evenly placed on the ground, not digging into your shoulder blades. Then your rib wall, do you feel that expanding and releasing, or do you feel tightened like you can only breathe into your chest? Or can you feel the width of your rib cage slightly expanding? As well, do you have a very high back arch, or do you feel more level down to the navel? And if you're not quite sure where that leveling starts, if you put your finger in your navel, do you feel your arch of your back above that finger or below that finger? And then your pelvis, notice your pelvis, your butt cheeks. Do you feel more of the weight in the center or on the cheeks? Do your hamstrings feel like they're touching the ground? Do your knees feel equally off the ground? Do the back of your calves feel evenly weighted? Do your ankles feel like they're dropping east and west, but not all the way to the ground? So your feet should not touch the ground on the outside edge, nor should it feel like your toes point towards, ideally, you shouldn't feel like your toes are pointed towards the wall, but ideally you should have just an even east-west drop out of your feet. Go ahead and slide those feet in so the shins are vertical. We're going to start in your upper back today. So we're going to bring that roller to the upper back. So we're going to go just about as far away as we can from those feet. So take that roller to the upper back. Notice where your shoulder blades are. Reach those arms out. You can kind of shake your shoulders a little bit. You may need to lower down just a little bit. Then take your hands behind your head. Remember, we're not trying to see how much neck extension we have, upper back. We're looking for rib length. So lift the hips up, really tuck that pelvis. So you kind of scoop into the lower back, and then just allow the upper back to drop because you're looking for rib length, not how far can your head go towards the ground all on its own. So we're not trying to find neck length, we're trying to find rib length. Feel if there's just any tension. Tilt yourself to your left, come center, tilt yourself to your right, and then center hold. Take a big deep breath again. See if you can lower a little bit further or not. Just check where you're at. Come back up a little bit. And again, tilt yourself to your left. Breathe into your right rib wall. Center, tilt yourself to your right, and then come back and center. Lift your hips up, just a couple 2 inches kind of forward and back. Make sure your head is just riding in your hands. Your butt is kind of almost scraping on the ground, so you're not really lifted that high off the ground from your butt. Then pause, tuck your pelvis, drop it to the ground, pin those elbows towards your head, and twist side to side. So again, that twist side to side is like you're twisting one vertebra around, and you're not trying to get into your neck. You're really just trying to tilt side to side. Pause, lift those hips up, move the roller towards your shoulders, top of your shoulders. Go forward and back a little bit, just about 2 inches forward, 2 inches back. Go ahead and pause, tuck the pelvis, drop the hips, pin the elbows towards the ears. And again, a little higher on the back, a little shrug in the shoulders, breathing. Get that back rounded so you feel that almost hunching in your upper back. And then drop. And then open those arms out nice and wide. Lift those hips up. Move that roller to the top of the shoulders and then press the legs almost straight. We're going to reset that roller to the top of the shoulders again. Elbows are nice and wide, and then straighten out your legs. One more rinsing pass. Bring that roller to the top of the shoulders and then rinse down the back. Good. So let's reset to our original position. So we're at where our shoulders can kind of feel the edges of our shoulder blades touching the roller. Hands behind the head. Lift the hips up, drop, and let's check that rib length. Now, if you've kept the pelvis tucked and the rib cage and then the diaphragm kind of dropping down, you should still be able to get more length out of this extension. Not because you dropped your head, but because your ribs let go. And then tilt to your right and tilt to your left and just see where you are there. And then back to center. Good. Let's go ahead and come up, bring your hips up, drop your hips to your left, bring your left hand out, straight out towards. So your right knee is up and your left arm is out, and then roll from that left shoulder. If you're doing your right, that's just fine. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Hold out, and then pull that arm up and over the roller and down, and up and over the roller and down, and again, up and over the roller. One more time, up and over the roller and down. Take your hand behind your head, lift your knees up, hip center, and let's shift to the other side. Just drop the right knee, reach the right arm out, let that head stay there, and roll that right shoulder. You're moving that scapula up and around. After this, we're going to do the rebalance treatment right in the center of the roller, and so you'll feel that movement of your back if you got more movement in your back. Pause, take that right elbow up and over the roller and back, up and over the roller and back, and again, up and over. Let's do 2 more times, up and over and back. Good. Take your hand behind your head, pull and bring your hips back underneath you. Make sure your arms are in the right position. Again, hands behind your head, lift the hips, tuck the pelvis. Let's check the rib length. Breathe. Keep the ribs down, and then lift the head up just a little bit. Tilt to your right. See if you can notice even a little bit more space in your side bend here to your left. And we're going to do 1 rinse pass. So I want you to take that roller up to the top of your shoulders, almost towards your neck, and then press those legs long. Good. Nice. Good. Bring those feet in. If you want to do it again, you're more than welcome to. Roll off the roller, and let's get on the roller lengthwise. So hips up on the roller, and then come up onto the roller. Slide yourself down gently, breathing, and just allow yourself to begin that gentle rocking side to side. Remember, the purpose of gentle rocking is to drop into the roller. Let the roller maintain contact with the midline of your body. So your body's creating a connection, an ease to being up on something. As you lay here, you may notice that one area of your back is kind of finely poking into the roller. And so maybe it's above in your neck, maybe it's in your shoulders, maybe it's your ribs. Maybe it's just someplace, you can't exactly tell where it is, but you can kind of feel maybe one of your vertebrae touching someplace that's a little bit different. But just take notice of those things. So when we get back on, or we do a rest assess again, you can kind of notice what's going on in the body. Pause here, move the feet a little bit closer, take the hands to the belly, and begin to tilt and tuck the pelvis. Now remember, in the tilt and the tuck, we are using the movement of the pelvis, not the glutes, not the feet, and not the rib cage. You can add that SH sound. As you do your tuck. One more time. Exhale, tuck. Inhale again. Exhale, tilt. And then let's take the hands to the rib wall. Elbows touch the side wall of the body, or the ground, as your hands touch the rib wall. I want you to think of breathing width-wise into your hands. Inhaling and exhaling. Shh. Like you could tighten, tighten, tighten up the entire rib wall. Inhaling. Exhaling. Shh. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. And 1 more like that. And exhale. Take your right hand to your chest, left hand to the belly, and let's breathe on all 6 sides of the body. Rib cage, belly, and back. Inhale. Exhale. Notice if you feel a little bit more balanced on that roller, and just calm the body with the breath. Exhale. Inhale, reach those arms out, palms facing each other. Pinky is almost in line with the top of the thigh, thumbs point towards the head or the ceiling, and begin a single arm reach. Arm comes over your head, and then switch. Now again, in all of these movements, especially on the roller when we're head to hips, use the breath specifically to slow your movement down and to help you balance and to help you find that balance in your vestibular system as well, so you're not all off balance there. Breathe as you take the arms overhead, not below the ear, not below the hip. Once more, right arm and left. Breathing, just allow the arms to come down to the side, overhead, and then come back, meet about in the middle, pull the fingers away from the center line. Be careful not to let the arms come up towards the head, so you're pulling away from the midline of the body. This is a great place to notice how your back is doing. How are those shoulders feeling? Does it feel more easy to move around the shoulder girdle now that we did that upper back glide? Rinse, shear, open up big, and then pause. Begin to move the wrists like kind of like waves, or like kelp in the ocean, just kind of breezing with the waves. Bend and straighten, bend and straighten. Roll those wrists, roll those fingers. Breathing. Open those arms, let those arms drop all the way to the floor. Bend the elbows, let the hands once again touch the rib wall. Big deep breath. Exhale. Reach your arms back out towards the knees. Double arm circles, arms come towards your head till your hands are out of eye line. Bring your arms around, almost like you're touching the underside of a ball. Go right through that center line of the ball, circle around, go up and overhead, and circle around. 2 more, up and overhead, and circle around. And last time, up and overhead, lengthen, and then circle all the way around. Take your hands to your sides. Just rest for a second. Extend your left leg, roll off the roller, and let's come back to the ground. Let's do a real quick reassess just where you're at now. Arms are wide, shoulders are back. Noticing head to heels, your body line. Noticing if the head weight feels more steady back, if the shoulders feel more evenly dropped, if that weight from your collarbones to the bottom of your sternum feels more level to the floor. Breathe into the rib wall and just notice if there's just a bigger ease to take that breath in. Does the pelvis feel more level, more evenly placed? Maybe those hamstrings are coming off or coming back to the ground. Back of the knees might feel more evenly weighted, and then the feet as more evenly dropped out right and left. Nice. Hopefully you've noticed some change, a little bit more grounding. And now let's take that roller to the farthest part of the legs. And we're going to start at the lower end by the calves. So take that roller just where the calf begins to narrow towards the ankles and begin to glide on top of that roller. Bend and straighten those knees, just knees come straight towards the head. If your feet go too far, like as if you're going to pull your feet towards your butt, you're going to end up moving that roller up the calf, and you want to try to avoid that. The heels can scuff. If it feels like you can't move the feet at all, move the roller down a little bit more towards the ankles, and you'll get more glide. Ideally, you should be able to do 1 or 2 spots, maybe 3 spots on the back of the calves. Now begin to drop your knees to the right, roll your knees center, drop your knees to the left, and roll the way around. Now again, as you do this, the roller can move around and can move up the ankles or up the back of the calf. So readjust as you need to. Just let those knees kind of move in a circle, almost not an egg beater, but in a rolling pattern. And you're going to feel that clunk, clunk possibly in those little barriers that you find in the calves. And then let's go the other direction, knees to the left and around to the right. Again, if that roller moves, just readjust it. You'll get a lot of nice little shears out of that. Good, and then pause. And then let's just do one leg at a time. Take your right foot off, and you're gonna bend and straighten just your left leg. And then again, roll the knee around. And remember, this movement can be done just as easily, in a sense, sitting up. So if you're not comfortable laying on the ground, or if you just want to do something and watch TV maybe simultaneously, and then pause, and then let's just do the right leg, take the left leg off, and again, begin with just some simple in and out, and then begin to roll that knee around. So you're kind of making a circle from the hip. So at the same time that we're getting some movement in the calf, we're also getting some rotational mobility in the hip, which is a really good thing to do. You want to see if you can connect different parts of the body together. So it's not just one part of the body doing it. And then pause. Let's take both legs onto the roller. Tick-tock both legs so they're going right and left. And again, you're probably really noticing those barriers. Pause up against a barrier, and let's make U shapes. Roll the ankles clockwise, then come right back into counterclockwise. Good, one more. Good, and then pause, and then let's just do that kneading on the roller. So push and pull on the roller. Good, and then pause. Just release, and then let's walk that roller in. And we're going to take the roller just above the knees because we're going to do the outside of the knees. So you need to bring yourself upright and roll towards your left side or towards me, whichever way you want to see me easier. So my knee is over the roller, away from my head. I'm going to lift myself up on my side. My top foot is going to come in front, and I'm just moving on just above the knee, just above the knee. Now you can have both feet kind of like fins, just above the knee, back and forth, small motion, slow. So I posted an article about rolling your IT band. I used to roll my IT band more, and it did feel good. It did release a little bit, but there's more evidence about that it breaks down the tissue, those very small subcutaneous nerves and blood vessels, and it's not that good for the body. So if you want to look at my page, you can see an article by Gil Headley about IT band rolling. He's really the guy who really started a lot of this fascial work. Pause, take your top hand to the ground, roll towards the top of both thighs and roll back. So we're doing kind of a direct shear here. roll over and back, roll over and back. And this is a fun one in a way, is do kind of pick up those legs, and if you can do kind of like a dolphin kick with both legs. If not, you can just kind of rub back and forth on just the bottom leg. And then pause, drop your hip down, bring yourself up, and let's switch to the other side. Nice spin, Susie. All right, so again, the knees are on the far side of the roller. Drop down into the elbow, come up. Feet can be stacked, and it's just a nice little push forward and back. So you can bend and straighten with your feet here. You can have your feet off the ground, which can be a little bit more weight. Again, work to keep the ribs up so you're not hanging on the shoulder. Couple more. This is very tender for most people. 3, 2, especially if you've been sitting or maybe just doing extra exercise lately. Last one, pause, put those feet on the ground, roll and come back. Roll and come back, breathing and back. 2 more. And last one like that. Now again, see if you can do that dolphin where you're kind of going back and forth, or you can just kind of itch that bottom leg back and forth as you put your big toe of your top leg on the ground. Good, and then pause, let the tissue respond, and then drop into your hips. The tissue probably is responding with, please stop doing that, that's hurting me. So hopefully it's not though. So let's come back, and we're gonna go all the way over onto our front side. So I want you to start with that roller just above the knees, and then come onto the ground. I want you on your forearms as best you can without letting your back slump in. You really need to push into your forearms. Your toes are on the ground, and you're just rocking back and forth. Let the weight of your legs hit the ground or hit the roller. Let the toes stay on the ground. Couple more, back and forth. And then pause, and then just turn the heels in and out like you're Dorothy. Click in, click out. You may feel some flipping in those quadriceps muscles. That's a little dehydrated tissue. Breathing, pause. Just kick back with your right heel. And then just kick back with your left heel. And then pause again and just let the tissue rest for a second, and then let's walk back. We're all done on that, okay? So we're gonna get on our last position on the roller. Let's lay on the ground. Lower back, hips high. Let's tuck that roller underneath and just let those hips settle onto the roller. So you wanna make sure that, again, the iliac crest, those 2 little bumps at the front of the pelvis, are on above the roller. So if you touch the iliac crest, it should be slightly to your head side of the roller, and then it shouldn't be down low. There should be no arching of the back. So make sure you settle that roller there. We're gonna do a nice easy glide and shear. Bring the knees up, one at a time, and let's begin an SI joint shear. Now the key here also is to keep the ribs down, the chin towards the sternum. Feel that oval almost stirring. Start small and get big. And breathe. Go ahead and get a little bit smaller each stir. And then pause right in the center. Hold, and let's do the marching. And then march kind of to your left. And then march back to the center. And then take a little walk and march to your right. And then march back to center. Pause. Tip both legs to the right. And then circle around. pause against your hand or against the roller, and then just march in one spot. And then pause. Bring those knees center, tip them over to your left, and again, make circles. So you're right up against that SI joint, making circles. So what that's doing is bringing hydration into the tissue. So we open up and create space, just like you're wringing out that sponge. Go ahead and pause, and then again, march. Good, and go ahead and pause again and bring both knees to the center. Hold, drop both knees into your chest. Make sure that roller is not gonna flip out from underneath you. Hold the left knee in, extend the right leg up, and begin to lower that right leg out. Kind of get long, slightly tuck the pelvis, take the right arm overhead, look to your left, and reach that right foot away from your right hand. Big deep breath. Exhale and tuck the pelvis. Shh. The leg will slightly lift as you do that. Inhale, exhale. Shh. Inhale, bring the head center, lower the hand, bring the knee into the chest. Just let that knee drop. May feel like it's just more evenly placed. Hold the right knee in, extend the left leg up, lower that left leg down. Should feel like a bouncing board, not below the level of the roller. Left arm overhead, reach. Breathing, inhale, turn your head away from the extended arm. Exhale, shh. Inhale, reach those arm and the leg away from each other. Exhale, shh. Inhale, bring your head center, arm down, knee in, and once again, knees in. Look at your feet between the knees and notice. Very often one foot wants to be in front of the other because the calf or the hamstring won't release. But after you do this very often, the feet are level and lined up, and it's a great way to notice when you've got better hydration, better evenness in the pelvis, hamstrings, and or hips. Go ahead and gently lower your right foot, left foot down to the ground, lift the hips up. Let's take the roller all the way out from underneath you, place it to your side, and let's come in for a final rest assess. Arms are down by your side, shoulders are broad. And I'm sorry, but I still sometimes get a kick out of it. My shoulders just feel just like laid back into the ground. My ribs feel just dropped in. Sometimes that's not the way it is. Sometimes I feel still off kilter, but show must go on. But my head is level. My head feels level with my chest. Rib cage is sunk. Hips feel more level. Hamstrings really feel like they're touching the ground, which means my pelvis isn't as pulled in from my psoas. I'm getting much better breathing. My organs are working a lot better now. My feet feel more evenly placed. My right foot tends to be a little glitchy anyway, just tighter, looser, right foot to left. Arms are out and even, and just take a couple of breaths in through your nose. And just feel how you divide the body in half. Ankles all the way up through the center of the sternum, right and left sides even. And just notice how you feel there, because we're going to come stand up in just a second. And then just go ahead and slide the feet in so the shins are vertical. Pause for a second and just notice that. That should feel nice and comfortable, nice and level in the hips. Shift the hips to one side. Let's roll over and let's bring ourselves up nice and slow. So just be patient with yourselves. Give yourself a chance to wipe off your glasses because it gets a little steamy where I am. And then let's bring ourselves upright. And let's reassess standing just like we started, just like we had when the ball was underneath our feet. So bring those legs nice and even. And notice if you're just standing more grounded, if there's less tension built up in the body just feels like it's just going to stand evenly on the feet, or where you feel that weight move to. Go ahead and close your eyes and just feel your weight balanced on your feet. Notice if the right and left sides feel a little bit more even. And those knees, because we rolled the knee and we rolled the outer leg and the calves a little bit, the legs may just feel like they're taking up the body weight a little bit better. Breathe into the rib wall, just notice that. The shoulders feel more settled away from the ears, and the head just feels like it's doing its thing, less crunchy, less poppy. Inhale, lift up all 10 toes. Notice where your balance of weight shifts to. Drop all 10 toes. Good, take your arms up and overhead reach. Exhale and down. Good, and we are done.